Hello, good morning, and welcome to Unacademy IAS, a one stop destination for all the English medium civil services aspirants. This is Shyam Kaggod here, taking up the Hindu news analysis for 5th August 2026. Now, before I start, please give the confirmation that I'm audible and visible for all of you. Those present in the session, please confirm that I'm audible and visible for all of you. Thanks a lot. Let's start. So, in today's session, I've taken a total of just 13 articles. I've taken the articles mainly from the daily edition of Hindu newspaper. In addition to that, I've taken an article from Indian Express. I'll also give you one homework from editorial page of Business Standard today and also one article from Press Information Bureau. This has been done in order to ensure that the coverage of current affairs will be comprehensive and you'll be able to answer the questions in the prelims as well as the mains examination of the competitive exams that you're appearing for. If you're liking this initiative, do not forget to hit the like button. If you're yet to join the Unacademy IAS YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. Before I start, here is a very important announcement. All the Unacademy IAS courses right now are available at a discounted price of 24,999. Once you enroll, you will get access to the live as well as recorded classes of English medium, bilingual as well as Hindi medium. You'll get access to the reading material, UCAN current affairs initiative, prelims as well as mains test series amongst many other offerings. Those interested in enrolling, do check out the details by clicking on the link provided in the description. And whatever is the price mentioned in the website, use the code IAS English to get the discounted price and also get an extension of up to 6 months free of cost. Let me begin the discussion now. The first important article, which has appeared, a full page article under the text and context page, out of work and outraged. In the last couple of months, I'm pretty sure you have come across the discussion associated with the youth, right? Let's say the protest that has been held at Jantar Mantar. What are the reasons behind it? What has been the outcome, etc., etc. Now, I just don't want to keep on repeating the same thing. What are the important 5 to 6 points that you need to take away from the article? Let's focus on that. That is what is required. Point number 1. There is always a discussion of the concept of demographic dividend in the context of India. What's a basic idea? Dividend refers to returns. Remember this, dividend always means returns. For example, you invest in shares of a particular company. What is the logic behind it? You want to have certain slice of ownership in this particular company. And in addition to this, once the company makes a profits, part of the profits are given to the shareholders, and that is technically called as dividend. Of course, it all depends on the company that you're investing in, whether this particular company makes profits or not. So whatever the returns you're earning, this technically is referred to as dividend. So when we use the term demographic dividend, it refers to the kind of GDP growth rate that you can achieve by having larger population within the working age. The working age population, which has been provided here, basically covers the population from the age of 15 years to 64. So how much of the population in India falls in the working age group? According to the latest estimates which have been given in the article, I'm just referring to the article here, 68.2%. 68.2% for the year 2024, which was 65.3% back in the year 2014. So point number 1, India has a huge potential to harness the demographic population and have higher GDP growth rate. But having said so, please understand, having population doesn't necessarily lead to higher output. I'll repeat the statement. Having high population doesn't necessarily mean you are going to have high output. If that was the situation, India could have become, or India should have become, the largest GDP in the global market. Because very recently, India has overtaken China to become the largest populated country in the world. Finally, we have been able to overtake China in at least one of the parameters, that is population, by the way. So having high population doesn't necessarily translate into high GDP. What you need to do is provide training, provide quality education, provide quality healthcare, etc., to translate this particular population into more productive population, which will contribute to the production and contribute to the GDP. So the concern is one, though having very high population under the working age group, we are not able to harness. There are concerns that we might be moving towards a demographic disaster in the coming decades if we are not able to harness this potential. Why am I saying this? There are problems in case of India both on the supply side as well as the demand side in the labor market. Listen to me very carefully. The supply side as well as demand side in the labor market. What do I mean by the supply side as well as the demand side of the labor market? There is demand for labor in India's market, but most of the demand is concentrated in the informal area or informal part of the Indian economy. For example, very often you will come across the term gig economy. Correct? You will come across the term gig economy. So, demand for labor is there, but are all the jobs created in India? Are they quality jobs? Do they offer you stability in the job? Do they offer you growth in your position? Do they offer you guaranteed salary at the end of the month? Of course, I know a lot of you will simply say, yes, sir. For me, the job that I'm pursuing, the job that I'm searching for or I'm preparing for will offer all of this. Congrats, by the way. You are looking at all India services, but all the jobs are not all India services. A lot of economy is contributed, the growth in the employment is contributed through gig economy. So the problem is on the demand side, there is an issue. What about the supply side? What about the supply side? We have huge number of people who are part of the working age group that we have already established. Now I said you need to convert the population into human resources. Listen to me carefully. You need to convert the population into human resources, and that can be done by providing nutrition, education, training, etc. So what is the status of all of this? Of course, the government of India provides food security. I repeat, the government of India provides food security using the National Food Security Act. But does it guarantee nutritional security in India? That is a question mark. Second, if you want to ensure human resources are available in India, you need to provide quality education. What about the education expenditure in India? Please have a look at the graph here. Please have a look at the graph here. This chart basically represents what has been the expenditure as a percentage of the total expenditure of the union budget for only education sector. And the data simply shows that in the last one decade, again I'm repeating this, as a percentage of the total expenditure, this has been reducing for education. Now that's a second issue. Third important issue is, one is allocation of the funds. Second one is utilization of the funds. I'll repeat the statement. One is allocation of the funds in the budget. Second one is utilization of the funds. That is, let's say the government of India has allocated 1 lakh crore rupees. 1 lakh crore rupees. But does the ministry utilize all the 1 lakh crore rupees? What if it utilizes only 30,000 crore rupees out of it? Or 60,000 crore rupees? So announcement is different. Actual utilization could be different. And that is exactly what the article says. The government of India, for example, for the budget 25 and 26. For the budget 25 and for the year 25 and 26, the budgetary allocation was 1,28,000 crore rupees. 1,28,000 crore rupees. But out of this, how much was actually utilized by the government of India? That is the Ministry of Education. 1,21,000 crore rupee was actually utilized. So the funds were there, but utilization fell short of 6.7 thousand crore rupees. So can you imagine what more resources could have been provided by the government, that is the Ministry of Human Resources, Education, etc., by utilizing this particular 6,700 crore rupees as well. So the concern is the supply side issues are there as well as demand side issues are there. And what about the other problem? Argument is whenever you get more educated I've been repeating this multiple times, and here is the consolidation of this again. Whenever you get more educated, that is, you keep on collecting higher levels of education degrees, you will get more quality job or better quality job. You'll be able to earn more. You'll be able to not only move yourself out of poverty, but also your family will be lifted out of poverty. Is that actually happening in case of India? The data simply shows the unemployment rates are higher when the people are getting more educated. I'll repeat the statement. The unemployment rates are higher whenever people are having more educational levels. So the argument is, even though I have got good degrees, even though a lot of people are having right qualifications, educational levels, etc., they are not able to get good quality jobs. So these are the 5 to 6 important issues which have been flagged in this article. Although the article is very big, full page, these are the 5 to 6 points which are relevant. Just take this and go forward. I hope all of you have understood. Do let me know in the chat section if there is any issue. Here is an MCQ. Which of the following best describes, the keyword is best describes, the demographic dividend? What is the correct answer? Tell me very quickly. This is a very easy question. This is a very easy question, by the way. Full employment, higher GDP because of higher working age population, high number of female worker participation, and none of the above. Which is the right option? All those who have given the answer so far have chosen option B. What about others? What about others? Others, what are you waiting for? Divine intervention for you to solve these questions? Let me know the answer. Kannan says option D. Finally, I got a different answer. Kannan says option D. All of you have given the rest of you have given the option B. Right option is option B. Higher GDP because higher working age population. Right, so right option is option B. Again, some of you have given option D. My dear, option B is the right one. Now, before I go forward, a lot of you will misunderstand the term full employment here. Please understand, full employment doesn't mean everybody is getting a job. Full employment doesn't mean there is no unemployment rate. Please understand. Full employment simply means all those who are seeking to get a job, they are getting a job. There is a natural rate of unemployment. So whenever there is a term full employment, do not assume that unemployment rate is zero. Please be very careful. Okay. Now here is a question for you to practice based on whatever we have discussed so far. India's unemployment crisis reflects structural weaknesses in both the education system and the labor market. Critically analyze. 250 words, a 15 marker question. And as usual, I keep on telling you people, please practice mains answer writing. Practice mains answer writing. That is the toughest part in the UPSC examination, by the way. And I know some of you will say, but sir, already you've given the answer through whatever you have discussed. That's a reason I also generally provide a homework for all of you. Now, this is a very relevant article, and this is the editorial from Business Standard today. I'll tell you the connection, just understand this. In recent times, because of the, let's say the paper leakages, there is a discussion that we should shift to online level of conducting the test. Correct? All of you are, right? All of you, I'm pretty sure, have come across this. We should shift to online testing, which has been conducted in multiple competitive exams now. But a lot of times, what we are missing out in the discussion is that, yes, no doubt, to a certain extent, the current issues of the examination system shall be addressed if you shift to online method of testing. But at the same time, will this particular new system be fair? That's a question. Will the new system be fair? In fact, in today's Hindu newspaper, there is one article which has stated that the government is considering to shift the NEET exams to online methodology in the coming years. But the question again arises, positives are there? Of course, yes. But at the same point of time, what about the digital literacy gap in India? What about the digital literacy gap? Are we not ignoring that particular issue? So will this new system be fair? No doubt it is better compared to current system, but will it be fair? That's a question. So here is a question for you to practice mains answer writing. Technology can improve transparency, but not necessarily fairness. Discuss this statement in the context of digital examinations. 250 words, 15 marker. Read this article. Very nice article, by the way. Read this article. Of course, there was one more article last week in Business Standard, one full page article, but it was filled with too much of data, too much of data. So this is more than sufficient for you to understand and write the answer. Everybody is okay? Now, download the PPT. This particular PPT will be available to you. Link is provided in the description. Download it. Now, before going forward, lot of you are preparing for competitive exams, state level, UPSC, etc. I know one of the subjects that you face difficulty is the subject of Indian economy. I know that. And those of you who do not know me, my name is Shyam Shankar Kaggod, and I'm the educator handling the GS Paper 3 Indian economy part. So under the special classes, free of cost, special classes, starting tomorrow, 6th August. So for the next 10 to 12 days, I'll be taking all the important issues that are covered in the 12th class Tamil Nadu Board Indian economy textbook. Is my announcement clear to all of you? Please do let me know. Starting tomorrow, 6th August to 17th August, we will cover all the important issues that are relevant, that are covered under the class 12th Tamil Nadu Board textbook. Now, these are the dates, these are the topics, respective topics that I'll be covering. And not just this, after every day's class, classes will be held 8:30 p.m. Please make a note of this. PM, not AM, PM, 8:30 p.m. every day except Sunday. So 8:30 p.m. I'll do the special class. Attend the class. After the class, I'll give you a link. 5 MCQs will be there. Attempt the MCQ as well. And on 16th August, there will be a mega test covering all the chapters that we have discussed in these particular special classes. All you need to do is go to my profile. Go to the Unacademy website. My full name is Shyam Shankar Kaggod. Search. Go to the tab of free classes. Under the free classes, you'll be able to see all these special classes already scheduled. All the special classes till 17th August are already scheduled. Please hit the let's say the link and hit the button, notify me. Once the class starts, you will be notified. And somebody is asking why Tamil Nadu particularly. Reason is simple. NCRT books are relevant. I've already covered NCRT under the special classes. Tamil Nadu class 12th is also important. I am covering Tamil Nadu board now. Okay. Now, those who are preparing for the upcoming CSC mains, I know you may not be preparing, but your friends will be preparing. One of the very important issues that they will be facing for the next 18 days is mains answer writing. And in order to improve the quality of mains answer writing, specifically I'm talking about GS Paper 3 Indian Economy. I've made a compilation of all the important data sets from the most recent government publications. The Union Budget, Economic Survey and the PIB documents. Simple 2-page handwritten notes are there. The link for downloading this particular 2-pager notes is also given in the description part of the video. All you need to do is go to the Unacademy website using the link, download. I think the name of the document on the website will be 4th August. Click on it, or at least those who are preparing, give the link to them. Let them download. I've covered all the important data points starting from gross domestic product to important areas that you need to cover to write an answer, very good quality answer in the inclusive growth. So basically, share this particular link and let them utilize, at least let them write a very good quality answer and get good number of marks. And before I go forward, this is my humble suggestion to all of you, advice. Please have the habit of writing down important notes, at least important notes. Not everything, at least the important notes. For example, these kind of mind maps, which will help you revise very quickly. For example, if you have these kind of 2-pager notes, basically having all the important data, you can revise everything within 5 to 10 minutes. Let's go forward. Next important editorial or opinion article in the editorial page. NATO enters new strategic era of transformation. What are the important points? NATO basically was established or was formed back in the year 1949. It has multiple countries, including USA and European countries. In recent times, the NATO summit was held in Turkey, right? And a lot of discussion has happened. We have also discussed in the editorial page or earlier editorial discussion, etc. What are the important points that you need to pick up now? Let's look at the important points. Okay. Point number one. When you look at the current administration of USA, they basically argue that the NATO members are not doing sufficient, right? Sufficient in terms of providing support to USA. For example, recently when USA attacked Iran, conducted attacks over Iran, the president of USA basically asked the NATO members to provide support. Right? Many of these particular NATO members did not even provide any kind of a support, did not even give a statement in support of the position of USA. In addition to this, even before the attacks on Iran happened, the president of USA has been arguing that the NATO members are overly dependent on the support or let's say the security offered by USA. And that is the precise reason they were not spending sufficient amount of money on defense. They were only dependent on the USA. Right? That has pushed the NATO members to increase the expenditure on the defense. The threshold number, very often this will be cited in the newspaper, the threshold expenditure that is being demanded or expected from the NATO members is the defense expenditure should be 5% of GDP. And many of you have already quoted. Good that you're following the discussion. Good. Most of you have become the experts already. Okay. So 5% of GDP, that is the expenditure in the defense that is expected. And this was very much evident because of the statements which have been given by many of the NATO members. Very recently in the 36th NATO summit that I told you, which took place at Ankara, that is in Turkey, the members have reaffirmed Alliance's commitment to Article 5. What is this Article 5? Whenever NATO summit takes place, there is always a reaffirmation of Article 5. It simply states if there is an attack on one of the members of NATO, it will be considered as an attack of all the members of NATO. So obviously, the other members of NATO will come to the rescue of this particular country. So reaffirmation of Article 5 has taken place. In addition to this, the NATO members now have pledged to invest 70 billion euros cumulatively in military assistance to be provided to Ukraine. In addition to this, they have also committed to sustaining the comparable support in the next year as well. But the point is simple. This is factual data. Agreed. The point is simple here. Will this reduce the reliance of NATO on USA? Right? If they start spending, let's say 5%, or why 5%? Let's assume 10%. Even if they spend 7%, 8%, 9%, 10% on their defense expenditure, will it actually reduce its reliance on USA? The answer of many of the experts is it is not going to come down very soon. Because when you see the overall expenditure that is done by USA on the defense, the kind of weapons, technologies that the USA has developed, acquired, right, over a period of time, and that has been a very important, let's say, feature of the NATO, right, let's say, association here. So will it reduce the dependence on USA? Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. But over a period of time, if this kind of investment, higher investment or higher expenditure on the defense continues to happen, the NATO members may reach a particular position where they might simply say, okay, in case of, let's say, nuclear attack or nuclear threat, they might look at USA. But for all the other purposes, they will have sufficient weapons, technologies to protect themselves. In addition to this, there is one more important aspect that you need to look at. The other important aspect is the connection to India. If you look at the USA's presence, USA is spread across multiple continents like this. It is present in Europe, it is present in the Indo-Pacific region, etc. Now, because its presence was heavily or very highly present in the European, let's say, region, For example, the number of troops after Russia attacked Ukraine, the number of troops which were present, US troops which were present in European region increased to more than 1 lakh. Now it has been dragged back to right around 80,000. But in addition to troops, there are many other areas or in many other forms that the USA is present in the European region. So if the reliance of European Union on USA will go down, now USA can focus more on other regions including Indo-Pacific. And that is where right the interest of India will come into picture. Because I'm pretty sure all of you know this. We have a very good competitor, all-weather competitor to India, that is China, which is right, let's say, exerting its pressure, right, basically in the form of the expenditure or investment or defense procurement or defense acquisition, defense products, etc., etc. So the presence or the importance of China in this particular region has been increasing in the last couple of decades. India has been right basically one of the very important player in terms of balancing right the power of China in the Indo-Pacific region. So if USA's presence in the other regions goes down, then its presence or its right, let's say, support to other countries in Indo-Pacific will start to increase, and that is good news for India. So these are certain very important points that you need to understand from the context of the changing role or the strategic role of NATO over a period of time. Let me move on to the next article. Everybody is able to follow the discussion? Do let me know in the chat section. Next article, the top spot which discusses the presence of or let's say conducting sports events in India. Very recently, the Commonwealth Games were conducted. Do let me know in the chat section which edition of Commonwealth Games were conducted very recently in the year 2026. Let me see how many of you know the current affairs. So the discussion is around what can India achieve by holding Commonwealth Games in the year 2030. So India has a right, let's say, objective of conducting CWG in the year 2030 and also hosting Olympics in the year 2036. So what are the important points? Point number one, if India has to host these particular games and also right ensure its pride is maintained, also ensure that it will win certain number, good number of medals in these particular games, then the government of India needs to implement more reforms. Government of India needs to ensure that there is a multiple stakeholder approach which will help us get or win more number of medals. Right? So argument is if you're hosting, let's say, Olympic Games, if you're not able to win, let's say, good number of medals, for example, let's say gold medals in double digit numbers, you're not in the top 10 in the right, let's say, medal tally winners, etc., then it's basically a humiliation, kind of a humiliation. Because let's be honest, hosting the games requires a lot of efforts. It requires a lot of efforts. It requires a lot of expenditure. There are so many concerns as to whether the India is fit or India should, not fit, whether India should be hosting these particular games. Now, if you are going to host the games, then ensure that there will be, right, let's say, sufficient number of the winners, right, the gold medal winners, right, silver and bronze winners, which will help India get good ranking in the overall medals tally. Right, so this is one very important concern. Second very important concern, like I said, there is a need to ensure that all the stakeholders will work in synchronization in order to ensure that the best, right, let's say the people are selected, the best sports persons are selected who will represent India in the Commonwealth Games as well as Olympic Games. And for that particular purpose, I've discussed this already in the last session as well that I took. The government of India has already allocated 29,000 crore rupees for Khelo India initiative. Khelo India initiative. So the article simply says it's a good step by the government of India. The funds which are allocated have increased. It has led to basically a 7-fold, 8-fold increase in the funds allocation. The number of sports persons or the athletes that will be covered under this particular fund will also be around 30,000 now. It's a good step. But the question is, how efficiently will this particular initiative be implemented. Like I said earlier, one is the allocation of the funds, second one is implementation, utilization of the money. So allocation has been done. We have to ensure there is transparent method. Efficiently, the funds are utilized to identify the best talented athletes who will represent India and also make India proud in these games. That's a second issue. Third very important issue is of doping. Third very important issue is of doping. According to the latest report that has been published by World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, India has basically been placed in the top level, right? Or India has the very high percentage of athletes who have been caught doping. In fact, even before the recent Commonwealth Games were conducted in the year 2026, multiple athletes in different categories, by the way, where we have won medals in the earlier Commonwealth Games, multiple athletes were found or were caught doping and they were disqualified from the participation of the CWG 2026. Of course, there is always a concern regarding this, and in case of India, out of all the countries where the testing has been conducted for more than 5,000 athletes, in case of India, the positivity rate is 3.6%. The positivity rate is 3.6%, one of the highest in these particular countries where the testing has been conducted for more than 5,000 athletes. So that is a point of concern. We have to ensure that this anti-doping measures will be implemented very strictly. Right information, I hope you understand this, right information is provided to the athletes. Of course, I hope you understand this. It's not that always athletes, not always, that's a key word. Most of the times it is true, that is, athletes, in order to finish on the podium, in order to get the medal, they will become greedy, right? They will use certain, right, let's say certain medication that is cheating, by the way. But sometimes what might happen is the athletes are not well informed, because a lot of these athletes come from rural background. A lot of these athletes do not understand what is banned, what is, right, a banned substance, what is not banned, what is allowed, etc. Right? So there is a need to provide information to all of these athletes. That is where the role of agencies will become important. So these are the three challenges that are raised in the context of India hosting the Commonwealth Games as well as the Olympic Games in the next decade. Now, here is a MCQ. What is the correct answer? Do let me know. Consider the following statements. India finished fourth in the medal tally in the Commonwealth Games 2026. India has participated in every edition of Commonwealth Games. What is the correct answer? Tell me very quickly. What is the correct answer? India finished fourth in the medal tally in the CWG 2026. Yes, that is true. The other countries above India are Australia, England, and Canada. And I asked you one more question earlier. What is the edition of Commonwealth Games held in the year 2026? That is the 23rd edition. 23rd edition. Second, India has participated in every edition of Commonwealth Games. Every edition of Commonwealth Games? No. Absolutely no. Out of 23 editions, including the most recent one, India has participated in 19 of the editions. So right option for the question will be option A. Right option is option A. Then everybody is okay? Now, before I go forward, we have seen all of these particular points. What UPSC might ask you in the prelims examination is, what are the total number of medals? Suddenly they will ask you, what were the total number of medals which were won by Indian contingent in the recently conducted Commonwealth Games 2026? Of course, I know a lot of you will simply say, but sir, that is an outrageous question. Of course, I'll agree to that particular argument. So India has won, please remember this, 13 gold medals, 17 silver medals, and 9 bronze medals, totaling 39. Totaling 39. Right, so please remember all of these particular points. Very difficult statements, I do understand, but UPSC has the habit of creating these kind of difficult questions. Let's move on to the next one. Supreme Court of India has directed the central government to frame SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, to curb digital arrest scam. In the last 1 to 1.5 years, there have been so many cases, so many instances where hard earned money of individuals has been stolen by fraudsters. And that has been possible because of a scam very infamously known as digital arrest scam. Now, Supreme Court of India has issued a directive to multiple stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders in this particular system? And what do I mean by the stakeholders? Please understand, in order to conduct this particular scam, the people who are, or the fraudsters, criminals will be using, right? Let's say telecom network. The criminals will be using the banking network, right? So there are multiple stakeholders who are involved if you have to ensure that these kind of cases will be curbed. Of course, the number of cases have gone down. According to the data that has been published, the complaints regarding the digital scams, right, have gone down from 1,23,000 in the year 2024 to 16,000 according to the latest data which has been submitted by the authorities to the Supreme Court. But reduction in the number of cases is not the correct parameter here, because I'm pretty sure all of you know this. Even if there is one case of digital theft or digital, right, fraud like this, it is still a cause of concern. And second, the number of cases generally doesn't represent all the digital scams that have taken place, because a lot of times people are ashamed, people are concerned that they might be made fun of. That's the reason they may not report these particular cases to the authorities. But anyways, the Supreme Court has stated that we are okay with the number of reduced cases, but we want to ensure there is a standard operating procedure which will fix, right, a method to be followed by different authorities whenever the cases will happen, which will fix accountability, more important, which will fix accountability in the system, which will ensure all the stakeholders or all the regulatory bodies are ensuring what they are supposed to do whenever these kind of cases are filed. For example, let's say the zero FIR is filed, or the person wants to file a zero FIR. If there is no SOP for this, if there is no regulation over this, if there are no guidelines regarding this, then lot of police stations may not accept these particular cases, stating that you are residing in that particular region, go and file the complaint in that region itself. If the banks have not implemented right tools to ensure mule accounts are not used, mule accounts are not used to transfer these kind of, let's say, black money which is circulated by the fraudsters, then the banks will have to be held accountable. So citing this, the Supreme Court of India has asked all the stakeholders to ensure there is a unified process, and for this, right, time period has been given to these regulatory authorities to announce a SOP and submit these particular SOPs that have been framed to the Supreme Court of India. And the authority that is involved mainly in all of this is I4C. Please remember this. I4C. I4C basically stands for Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. Very, very well known, very famous authority. You should be aware of this. Done? So this is an update. Please take a note of this. Now, based on I4C, here is a question. Tell me the correct answer to the question quickly so that we can go on to the next article. What is the correct answer? And why most of you have gone dormant? Please participate in the classes. Consider the following statements regarding I4C. It is a statutory body. It functions under the Ministry of Finance to act as a nodal point to curb cybercrime in the country. It acts as a nodal point to curb cybercrime in the country. How many of these three statements are correct? Let's start. Is it a statutory body? No, it is an attached office under Ministry of Home Affairs. MHA. Okay, under Ministry of Home. It is functioning under the Ministry of Finance? Incorrect. To act as this will act as a nodal point to curb cybercrime in country? Absolutely correct. Only one statement is correct. Right option will be option A. In fact, please have a look at what are the objectives of I4C. What are the important objectives? to act as nodal point to curb cyber crime in the country, to strengthen the fight against cyber crime committed against women and children. I'm pretty sure all of you are coming across the kind of news or kind of, let's say, activities where people are involved in abusing women online. The real keyboard warriors, right, who will hide behind the keyboard and keep on attacking women, right? So please be very careful. It is the I4C which will handle all of these particular cases. Facilitate easy filing cybercrime related complaints and identifying cybercrime trends and patterns, to act as early warning system to provide information to many authorities, to create awareness amongst the public and assist the states and the union territories to build capacity. So these are certain very important objectives of I4C which functions under Ministry of Home Affairs. Let's move on to the next article now. Indian flagged ship sinks after attack in Red Sea. 14 rescued. After so many reforms being implemented by the government of India, after having, right, the seafarer first approach, after putting in so many, right, let's say, measures in place, right, after talking about the peace deal that is being discussed between USA and Iran, etc. Now there is one more attack that has happened on Indian flagged ship. This particular Indian flag ship has been attacked in the Red Sea. Out of 14 seafarers, out of 14 sailors, 13 were Indian. All the 13 Indians have been saved, right? And even the other foreign, the merchant navy person, or let's say the seafarer, also has been saved. But the question is beyond what has happened. That is, why is that the commercial shipping lanes are first and foremost under attack? Now under Red Sea, I hope you understand, under Red Sea now, right? That is a cause of concern. In the Strait of Hormuz, there have been concerns. In the Red Sea, earlier there were concerns, but now these kind of attacks on the commercial shipping lanes will create a problem. The Ministry of External Affairs has criticized it. It has also clarified that it is holding talks, or it is in talks with all the respective authorities of the countries involved here to ensure safety of seafarers. Done. In the context of this, I would recommend that you read Bharat Maritime Insurance Pool. Please do let me know in the chat section. Have you heard of this? I'm not going to discuss this. I'll tell you why. Bharat Maritime Insurance Pool. The reason I'm not going to discuss this is because earlier on 18th June, Mukesh sir has already discussed this. So that's a reason I don't want to keep on wasting your time. Please have a look at the important points. But this initiative will become very handy for you in the prelims as well as mains examination. Let's move on to the next important article. LIC shares dip 8% on the center's stake sale. Now, should you remember all of this particular data? That is, the market price of the shares has fallen by 10%, 8%, this, that, etc. Answer is absolutely no. But why is this article relevant? Why is this article important? Reason is simple. The government of India conducts a procedure called as disinvestment. Disinvestment basically refers to a practice of government of India wherein certain percentage of ownership in the companies, that is central public sector enterprise companies, the certain percentage will be sold by the government and the money will be collected. Post 1991, the process of disinvestment has become a very important source of revenue generation for the government of India. In fact, until recently, I repeat, until recently, the government used to have huge target under disinvestment. But in recent times, there are certain things that have happened. Please be very careful. First thing is, the government has not been able to achieve the target of disinvestment that it keeps. It has not been able to meet. Second very important change is DPIM, that is Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, which is responsible for conducting the disinvestment proceeds, or the identification of the companies where disinvestment has to be done. We have started conducting most of the disinvestment through a route which is called as exchange traded funds. But in addition to the route of ETF, the government also uses a concept called as offer for sale. OFS, offer for sale. And that is exactly what you need to understand in the context of LIC. Right? And the third important point before I come to LIC, the government of India, please listen to me carefully. The government of India, in the budget documents until recently, used to have a separate heading for disinvestment proceeds. But in recent times, that particular practice has been discontinued. The revenue that is collected, receipts that are collected by the government of India through disinvestment are kept under other sources, other receipt sources. That is one more classification change that the government of India has done. Now come to the point here, the OFS and the LIC. What is this idea of an offer for sale? Offer for sale simply means the existing owners will basically sell their ownership, that is shares. The government of India until recently had the complete ownership of LIC. But back in the year 2022, the government of India decided to conduct disinvestment. Around 3.5% of the ownership in the LIC was sold by the government of India. LIC got listed. Now, the government of India has announced, in addition to 3.5%, the government will be conducting the sale of another 6.5% of the shares of LIC. And this will take the total amount, that is the percentage in the LIC of the shares held by the government of India, to around 90%. And please understand why 90%. SEBI has a norm that is called as a minimum public shareholding, MPS, minimum public shareholding. According to other companies, generally the minimum public shareholding norm is 25%. That is when you conduct initial public offering, you will have to ensure that your ownership, that is the existing owners percentage in the ownership, will not be above 75. It has to come below 75%. But for public sector companies, there is generally an exemption provided. So SEBI basically has given an exemption to the public sector companies, and for LIC, by 2027, the government of India is supposed to bring the ownership to 90%. That is, ensure that 10% of the shares of LIC are sold to other investors. That is the precise reason why the government of India is conducting the sale of shares of LIC to 6.5%. Everybody is able to understand the discussion here? Now, based on this, here is an MCQ. Solve it and tell me quickly what is the correct answer. Which of the following are the methods for conducting disinvestment used by government of India? Everybody please participate and tell me what is the correct answer very quickly. Share buybacks, exchange traded funds, offer for sale. How many of these are used by the government of India basically to conduct disinvestment? Right option is option D. A lot of you basically, because I've discussed only or mentioned ETF and OFS, will say, sir, ETF and OFS, option C. No, my dear. Option D, that is 1, 2 and 3. But please understand, what is the meaning of share buyback here? Some of you will say, but sir, share buyback. What is a share buyback? How it can be a process of disinvestment? A company will purchase the shares from government of India. I'll repeat the statement. Imagine the company LIC will purchase 1% of shares from the government of India. Right? So government of India has sold 1% shares. It has collected money. That is disinvestment for the government. For company, it has purchased the shares. So share buyback is also a method for conducting disinvestment. All the three are correct. Right option is option D here. Let's move on to the next important article. 10-kilometer mining buffer applies to all the wetlands in India. Now, before I start, do let me know. Everybody has heard the latest update regarding Ramsar sites in India. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it. You've read about it. You're an expert on it. If a question is asked, you'll be able to write the answer today. But in the examination hall, you'll forget it. Okay, so please take care of it. So what is the update here? Earlier, Supreme Court of India has issued an order. What is the order? There is this particular wetland in Uttarakhand, right? That is Asan wetland. The Supreme Court of India basically stated we need to ensure within the 10-kilometer radius from this particular wetland, within 10-kilometer radius, there is no anthropic activities. Anthropic means the man-made activities. For example, mining activity. And why is this required? It is required because, please understand, India basically focuses on conserving the wetlands. Conservation of the wetlands is a priority for us. Legally, these are designated areas under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. And once these are recognized under the Wildlife Protection Act 1992, obviously we will implement certain reforms to protect these kind of let's say regions. So Supreme Court of India has issued an order, guideline stating that within 10-kilometer radius of the Asan wetland, which is present in Uttarakhand, very nearer to another state, that is Himachal Pradesh. So the order was within 10-kilometer radius, the activities, the human involved activities such as mining activity should not be conducted. Now, against this particular order, Himachal Pradesh went to Supreme Court, appealed to the Supreme Court. What was the appeal? Appeal was this particular, let's say the wetland is in the vicinity of Himachal Pradesh border. It is very nearer to the border. And in Himachal Pradesh, already the mining activity has been started. And this particular mining activity that has been referred to by the state government is being conducted by following all the legal methods. Legal approvals have been issued. All the procedures are being followed. So if you impose a ban like this, that is a blanket ban, that within 10-kilometer radius, mining will not be allowed, then this activity which has been approved, which is being conducted legally, now will be affected. So the state government basically requested the Supreme Court of India to not to impose this ban for all these regions and to provide certain exemption. Supreme Court of India now has clarified that this 10-kilometer radius ban that they're talking about is not just applicable to this particular wetland. It should be in fact extended to all the wetlands in order to ensure there is equitable treatment, there is a correct treatment given to all the wetlands in India. That is basically the update here. Everybody is okay? The 10-kilometer mining buffer applies to all the wetland reserves. That is the clarification that has been given by the Supreme Court of India. So please make a note of this. Now, associated with this, here is a question. Consider the following statements. Asan Wetland Conservation Reserve in Uttarakhand was designated as a Ramsar site in October 2020 and is the first one in the state of Uttarakhand. That's the first statement. India has a total of 101 Ramsar sites. A lot of you will jump up in joy and simply say, sir, I know second statement is correct. I know absolutely true. Second statement is correct. What about the first statement? Asan Wetland Conservation Reserve in Uttarakhand was designated as Ramsar site in October 2020. Yes. And it is the first in the state of Uttarakhand. Absolutely yes. Absolutely correct. First statement is correct. Second statement is correct. Right option for the question will be option C. Option C is the right option. Okay, now let's go on. Let's move on to the next topic of discussion. And here is the question. Before I move on to the next topic, here is a question for all of you. For a lot of you, this will be a googly question. Googly question in the sense, sir, how do you expect me to remember this kind of a statement? I'm outraged. I'm seething in anger. I want to throw the mobile phone on the wall, etc. The phoenix species project appearing in the newspaper is dash. The phoenix species project appearing in the newspaper is dash. What is the right option? A lot of you will say, sir, skip. Question, skip. I'll go to the next question. The reason why I've asked this particular question is because of this article in today's Indian Express. Because of this article in the Indian Express. Please look at the article. DiCaprio, Bezos lead 200 million project to save 100 threatened species. 100 threatened species. This is an article from today's Indian Express, by the way. And this particular project has been titled as Phoenix Species Project. Phoenix Species Project. And if you go by the details which are given in the article, this is by far the largest fund which has been set up. Largest fund. Why? $200 million. $200 million. Right? So largest fund which has been set up to basically conserve 100 threatened species. Done. This was launched back in the year 2025. But because this is there in the newspaper, I've taken up, right? Please go through the article. Again, don't remember all the 100 species. Not relevant. You will not be able to remember. And please do not take it up as a challenge, by the way. Please do not take it up as a challenge. Phoenix Species Project appearing in the newspaper is an initiative launched by Rewild and Bezos Earth Fund 2025. Right? So right option is option C. Right option is option C. That is the correct answer. Okay. Let's go forward. Everybody is okay. I'll keep on throwing these kind of googlies at you people. You're okay, right? Ijaj Ryan, my dear, please focus on the discussion. Focus on the discussion. I'm discussing important ecology and environment article. You are focused on something else. Please focus on the discussion. Next important article. USA has used virtually all of its precision missiles during Iran war. Right? During the Iran war. What is the importance of the article? Importance is this. Right? In recent times, there have been multiple reports which have raised concern regarding whether USA has sufficient stock of, right, let's say certain types of missiles, certain types of weapons. Because USA keeps on supplying these kind of weapon systems to Ukraine. It has promised, it has supplied a lot. And at the same point of time, it is also involved in war with Iran. It is also involved in supplying, right, these kind of weapons to other countries. It wants to open one more front with, right, let's say, opening an attack on Greenland, right, hypothetically, by the way. Let's hope it will not happen. So the concern is, in that case, does it have sufficient weapon systems? Especially those kind of missiles which are used to, right, let's say, intercept other missiles. According to the latest reports, USA has already used up 60% of the important interceptor missiles. 60% of the stockpile. And the problem with this is, on one side, China has been stocking more and more weapons. According to one estimates, China will have sufficient weapons. If they want to attack other countries, they will have sufficient weapons by 2027. And on the other hand, USA has been involved in attacks on Iran, where Iran has been using comparatively cheaper drones. And USA has been utilizing these interceptor missiles such as THAAD, which will incur millions of expenditure to manufacture them. So according to one estimate, if USA has to start producing these particular weapons all over again and reach the levels which were present pre-Iran war, then it will take at least 4 to 5 years for USA. By 2030-31, they will have sufficient weapons that they had before the onset of Iran war. So that is what is being discussed in the article here. This is just an update. Please make a note. Let's go forward now. One more important article related to ecology and environment, right, related to a very important initiative of Government of India. International Clouded Leopard Day. International Clouded Leopard Day. Right? So what are the important points? 4th August every year since 2018 is observed as International Clouded Leopard Day. There are two species. One is clouded leopard and the second one is Sunda clouded leopard. Right? These particular species, especially in India. In India, these are present in northeastern states. So 4th August, that was yesterday, the Government of India has come out with Conservation Action Plan, CAP, Conservation Action Plan. Now, as usual, what will be part of Conservation Action Plan? I've given the points, but I'll just give you in a very easy way to remember. The Government of India has basically stated that they will identify 14 regions. They will identify the 14 priority landscape regions. And in these particular regions where these kinds of leopards have been spotted, conservation efforts will be implemented by the government. And obviously, whenever these kind of conservation reforms are implemented, you need, all right, multi-stakeholder approach. That is, community participation is involved. You need to have synergy between the government authorities as well as all the other stakeholders. So all of these will be part of the conservation action plan. This conservation action plan has been framed or has been formulated by India, GEF, that is Global Environmental Facility, as well as UNDP. Please remember all of these particular points. It is basically prepared by three important entities: the Government of India, Global Environmental Facility, and UNDP. It's a joint initiative, right? In addition to that, usage of technology will also be adopted here. For example, right, sensors, trap cameras, etc. will also be adopted under this particular comprehensive action plan. So these are the important points, right, in the context of the International Clouded Leopard Day that was observed yesterday, that is 4th August 2026. Now, associated with this, here is a question. Consider the following statements regarding Clouded Leopard Day. It is listed under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. This is found in the Western Ghats concentrated in the state of Maharashtra. 4th August is observed as International Clouded Leopard Day. How many of the statements are correct? Some of you are saying option A, some of you are saying option B, and Abhishek Raj simply says no. One word, right? No. I'm asking you ABCD, my dear. Okay. Okay, Abhishek Raj, option B. And my dear Abhishek and others, whenever I take names, please don't get offended. Don't simply get offended. I'll keep on cracking jokes. I'll keep on troubling you people. Don't get offended. Okay. It is listed under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. Yes, that is true. This is found in Western Ghats. No. 4th August is observed as International Clouded Leopard Day. Yes. Two of the statements are correct. Right option will be option B. Option B is the right one. Now, couple of more articles, just factual information. 3 medicines now which are widely used, which are basically prescribed by the practitioners, that is the doctors across the world, now have been identified as carcinogens. Right? Carcinogens, that is basically which will basically cause cancer. Right? The 3 medicines, these are the names. Please have a look at the names. If possible, try to remember them if possible. Right? So these are the 3 medicines which are recommended for, right, these particular situations by practitioners, and the authority which has identified and notified that these are the carcinogens, it is International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, which is part of the World Health Organization. It is in fact WHO's Cancer Research Agency. These are the only 2 points which are relevant. Rest of the information, don't worry about it. Focus only on these 2 points. Okay, now last article for today. Last article, before you simply start typing, how much more time? I'm busy with UPSC preparation. How much more time should I spend on reading? This is the last article. Just update here. Food Safety and Standards Authority of India has imposed a ban on certain products which are being sold by a private sector company, Dabur. Right? This particular company has been selling many of the products. And before I go forward, is it that only Dabur which is, right, let's say, alleged to be involved in these kind of practices? Absolutely no. In many of the cases of packaged products which are being sold to us, there is a lot of times, right, let's say, violation of many of the, right, let's say, guidelines. Many of the guidelines. Right, so Dabur products which had a label of 100%, that is 100% fresh, 100% pure, 100% this, 100% that, etc., etc. Because let's be honest, all of us always look at 100%. For example, if I ask you how many marks you want to score in the UPSC examination, a lot of you will simply say, sir, prelims 100%. But you should focus more on mains examination. So mains examination, I'll ask you how many marks you want to score? 100%. GS paper 3, 100%. Right? So focus is always on 100%. Argument is many of these particular products which claim to be 100% pure, 100% fresh, 100% this, 100% that. There is no way that can be proven. Simple. There is no way it can be proven. So the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India has sent multiple notices earlier. Multiple letters were sent to the company earlier. Now it has cracked the whip and stated these products will have to be taken out of the shelves. These products, they have identified certain list of the products which claim to be 100% this, 100% that. Now they will have to be withdrawn. Labeling has to be changed. So this is basically the update regarding the role of Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. Srinidhi says, how can packaged products be even pure? Of course, I do agree with you, but that has to be decided by the consumers. As long as consumers are purchasing these kind of products, right? As long as we'll keep on falling for these particular, let's say, gimmicks, obviously the companies will always keep on selling with that kind of labeling. Done? Okay, so these are the 13 plus articles that I wanted to discuss with you people in today's session. If you have liked the session, do not forget to hit the like button. If you're yet to join the Unacademy IAS YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. And before I start taking up your questions, I'm just repeating it. Starting tomorrow, 8:30 p.m., I'm going to cover all the important topics from the class 12th Tamil Nadu Board NCRT with MCQ after the class and a mega test later once all the topics are covered. Right? Please go to my profile. Right? Hit on the notification button for all of these classes. Any questions? Any questions from your side? Devil Dot says, thank you, Shriman. Thank you. You're welcome, by the way. Okay. Anybody else has any kind of a question? Please do let me know. Sir, why not government strict action against these companies? My dear, that's what I'm telling you. Immediately the government cannot take, that is, the authority cannot take strict action. They will generally send the right notices first. They will ask them to explain. They will ask them to prove. If that cannot be done, right, they will ask them to withdraw and change the labeling policy. Right? So that is generally how the procedure works. Bhuvaneshwari, is AI good or bad? Right, my dear, please understand, it all depends on the context that you're going to use, right, the artificial intelligence. Are there concerns regarding, right, let's say the loss of labor because of the adoption of AI? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. But at the same point of time, we have to ensure AI will be used for ethical practices. AI will be used for, right, not terror funding or terror activities, etc. So there are needs for the guardrails that we need to put in place. Okay, done. What is the difference between your course on paid comprehensive course and free classes? Comprehensive is comprehensive. Tamil Nadu board, I'll stick to only Tamil Nadu board discussion. For example, if you join the comprehensive classes, I will have a detailed discussion. Let's say, for example, GDP. I'll discuss GDP for 5 hours, 6 hours, including the current affairs in the paid course. In Tamil Nadu course coverage, whatever is there in the NCRT book, that will be covered in the NCRT free classes. Whatever is there in the Tamil Nadu board book will be covered in these particular special classes. Done. Okay, so these are the important things I wanted to discuss. Use the link provided in the description to download the PDF. But more importantly, do not just be a collector. Use it for revision purposes. Learn. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you tomorrow sharp at 10 a.m.